Before assuming your child needs ADHD meds, check these 3 hidden factors that can cause ADHD-like symptoms or worsen ADHD. Here's the crazy part. Most people, most physicians, they're not even talking to parents about these 3 common things that produce symptoms that look just like ADHD. When you are going down the wrong path, right? Of course, it means you're getting the wrong treatment, but you're also missing out on an opportunity to actually use natural solutions that help your child's nervous system regulate, brain and gut work better. And instead, you're doing meds when they don't need it. I know there's a revolution going on with parents. I'm so glad because I've been doing this for 3 decades. And you're starting to realize just because your kid may show some of these signs, that it doesn't mean that ADHD, a clinical diagnosis of ADHD, is actually the root cause. You've got to get to root causes. I want to dispel any mystery around what are the root causes. And we're going to talk about 3 surprising causes of things that look like ADHD. There's a lot more than these, right? You can go back and you can watch the episode or listen to is it ADHD or something else? I even have a quiz for it. The number one thing is actually missing nutrients. So we know through research when you're low in certain nutrients that certain behaviors show up, right? So what are the ones that when you're low in these nutrients look like ADHD? Kids who have ADHD, they're prone to more genetic variants, things like MTHFR, COMAT, there's a whole list of them. When you have these, you actually need more of certain nutrients. And there's such a complexity and there's layers, there's more restrictive eaters here. Kids with ADHD tend to be low in certain nutrients that lead to restrictive eating. And then they want foods. They start craving foods that don't have these nutrients. And so it's the dog chasing its tail. So let's talk about the nutrients that we know are associated with ADHD-like symptoms, right? So impacting focus and irritability and whatnot. So number 1 is magnesium. When you are low in magnesium, research shows us that you are more likely to have poor focus, increased irritability and anxiety, emotional dysregulation in there too, increased impulsivity, right? And why is magnesium so important? Well, I didn't just make multi-mag, brain formula just because, but we are deficient in it. There are 300 to 600 chemical processes that require it. It's important. We need a lot of magnesium. If you're not taking magnesium, please make sure. And if you have clinical issues, know that we put malate, glycinate, and threonate, L-threonate in here for a reason, because this is what the research shows us works. Number 2, often nutrient that's low is omegas, right? So we know when you have low omegas, right, that and there's a common genetic problem that makes people low in omegas, and that's why when kids get omegas, they often can have dramatic improvements. About 1/3 of kids who take omegas who have focus problems have a dramatic improvement in attention. That's a huge amount of people. The other 1/3 get some improvement and 1/3 none, but I'm not so sure about that. But 2/3 of kids get some pretty significant improvements. We know low omegas, you have decreased focus, increased memory problems, and it's tied to emotional, dysregulation and in supporting how your nervous system regulates. Okay, low zinc. So zinc, we know low levels of zinc, you have increased hyperactivity, increased impulsivity, increased food restrictions, right? It is just a critical nutrient. And please know there is a lot of other nutrients that we know, but these are the 3 that are very consistent in the research and can really look like you have ADHD when you're low in these things. And they're very important nutrients within the body. They're on my essential list. Okay, so what can you do? So if you have a kid, first of all, when you add zinc, food sensitivities, restrictions go down, which is great. So you can add more foods. But What foods should you add? You wanna add more magnesium-rich foods like nuts, seeds, omegas, things like salmon and walnut, if they'll allow it. And then if you can't increase through diet, which can be really hard, and magnesium definitely needs to be supplemented, you're not gonna get it just from food. You wanna have high quality supplements. Don't be buying them on Amazon. Go to a retailer or work with somebody like me, buy a product from a high quality provider. They make all the difference, and use them consistently. And don't stop when you're like, well, things look better. People do that all the time. Number two hidden reason that you kid can look like they have ADHD. Well, it could be blood sugar imbalances. So with kids eating so many foods that are low in nutrients, high in sugar, high in carbohydrates, it can really lead for kids to really look wired and tired, right? And both those are the other sides, right? You got ADHD inattentive, ADHD hyper impulsive. When you have blood sugar issues, right? You have low blood sugar, you can have brain fog, you can have mood swings, you can be impulsive, right? Doesn't that sound just like ADHD? Number one, you want to skip the high carb breakfast, get rid of toast, get rid of, unless you're doing some kind of special toast, get rid of cereal. Do eggs, bacon, sausage, high fat, high protein. Really get them as much as you can. If your kid won't eat in the morning, right? Maybe you have a kid who's on, stimulants. Make your own shake. Put in a super clean vegan protein in there. Put some fat in there, coconut milk, almond milk. Don't use, stay away from dairy and gluten, and throw in some of your sweeteners, your banana, mango, frozen fruits. Always put a couple greens in there. I promise they're not going to notice it. And if they won't even do that, then pare it down to the level that they will. You want to focus on that protein and fat. Very, very important. Number three, most common reason is nervous system dysregulation. So there are so many things that dysregulate our nervous system. Maybe your kid's a sensory processing kid, not an ADD kid. Maybe they have executive functioning issues, not ADD. Maybe they have anxiety. Maybe they have trauma. Maybe they have excessive screen time. Maybe they're eating the wrong foods. Maybe you and your husband are fighting all the time. Maybe you have financial issues and stress, or their dog died. And so these are things that dysregulate the nervous system. And you have signs of understimulation or overstimulation. So just like we talked about, you can look inattentive, problems learning, problems completing tasks, or overstimulation, irritation, impulse control, reactivity. And so when you have these things, it keeps the nervous system in an activated state. How do you address this, right? Is you need daily nervous system resets, right? So are you doing that breath work? Are you meditating? Are you doing nature walks? Maybe you're taking magnesium every day. Maybe you're taking a hot bath every night. This is sounding awfully like my life. Maybe you're doing PEMF. I mean, I have to do things all the time to make sure my nervous system is really in tippy-toppy shape. I couldn't even begin to go on all the millions of little things. A lot of them are really little. I do prioritize certain things, right? As I'm getting ready for, it's going to be 2026, my next book. You're going to know more about it, the dysregulated kids. I got a lot going on in the background because we need this book to open people's minds to different possibilities about what's really going right and what are the challenges that your child and family has. And so, this will be a very impactful book, and I'm really excited about it. But I need to regulate my nervous system. And, I'm working with a young man, and he's very uncomfortable. He's a failure to launch kid, and he's very uncomfortable being uncomfortable. And so we are in a growth point. And so we share all the time, like, I'm so uncomfortable because now I have to do this for this book, and I wasn't expecting that. It's not writing everybody. It's the getting it out to the masses and making sure this really is a book that will change things for people. So it's a lot. So we are uncomfortable. And so he's for a very different reason than mine. But guess what? Our nervous systems react in the same way. And so what can we do? How do you know which one of these or other things could potentially be a root cause to why your child looks like they're ADHD? Number one, you want to test some of these strategies, right? And see if it makes a difference, right? So add that magnesium, increase zinc, maybe, and you should be doing this with with a practitioner who's really helping you, and see, right, what's happening, because you're now understanding ADHD symptoms don't always mean ADHD. I mean, I have the luxury of brain maps and I get to tell people all the time that isn't the case, right? So if you want more guidance on natural solutions, right? And ways to really get the brain working differently. If you have a child, or you suspect your child has ADHD, but maybe they just have focus issues. This is exactly why I created the Focus Formula Kit. You can go to drroseann.com/ADHD kit. And it has the best of the best strategies in very digestible Dr. Roseann way, so that you can start thinking differently about ADHD and what are proven solutions to change the brain of any child of any age, young and adult included, and help them to be more focused, complete tasks, and of course, feel good about themselves. So get started and start using some of these tools and watch your child's attention and focus get better.